Hello, this is ZeroXtasy bringing to you my second review. I know I am a month late, but ironically, I have been watching shows to do my next review on. And at first I was going to do a review of a show that came out in 2002 or 2003, but I ended up watching two shows that were current instead. And so, look forward to more reviews very soon. I have two in the works. I have one. I just need to watch the last episode of one, but this review is already gonna be done, and it's a current show, and I'll explain what the show will be in a minute. And honestly, I want to do the review for the older show first, but I just ended up catching up to two series that I really became interested in, and these are Western animations, just to point out. But I'll do an anime review sometimes. Even though I say I'm an anime reviewer, I did a review of a Western show first. Anyway, I won't announce what the other review will be, but just say that I guess I was lucky enough to catch up to two shows that are current. And one of the shows I thought was going to do a mini review where I just talk about what was happening currently and do a full review once the first season was done, but the first season ended up being done this year, so I didn't have to wait. So I just gotta watch the last few episodes when they come out, and I'll do the review probably next week. But anyway, there's gonna be two reviews, one this week and one next week. But the first review that we're doing in this mini review special is Infinity Train Book 3. Now, to everyone watching who has never watched my videos, there are 4 points of criteria. There's story, music, animation, and characters. And before I explain my criteria, I just want to bring a brief story on my experience with Infinity Train. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, why are you reviewing the third season instead of the first one or the second one, or the first one first? It's like, I was caught up with the series. It's just during my time of hiatus where I was trying to update my channel, I have watched shows that came out during that time, and during that time frame I couldn't really do reviews, so I just watched what I could watch, just to watch it just for fun. But reviewing something that I kept up with, like, I like Infinity Train. I bought the second one and enjoyed it all the way through, and then when I heard there was a third season, I did what I could to get access to it, or to try and watch it, and that's what I'm doing. I saw the third season, and I feel like it is a good show, and I enjoyed it. And I'll be honest, basically I watched the third season, I kept up with Infinity Train, and I feel like the third season, it feels less impactful than the first two seasons, but the third season does answer questions that were presented in the second season. So I'll just say this season was a good trade-off at this point. But now for the story section. Infinity Book 3, if you haven't watched the show, don't watch this review. I don't spoil too much, but I do talk about events that happened in the third season that you would need to know about the first two to understand. So anyway, Book 3 is about the Apex leader Grace and Simon. It is about the Apex leaders Grace and Simon. It is about them finding a girl named Hazel whose number on her hand isn't glowing, and she's traveling with what the Apex call trained as a Null. And Hazel is traveling with a Null who is a gorilla named Tuba. Now, I'm not the spoiling type of reviewer, but just say a lot unfolds during this season, and it does involve all the members. Infinity Train was always a show that had good story explained, but it was probably one show that could tell a story about a different character, and you would think, oh, it's just gonna be boring, or it's just gonna be short. But they do a good job of just lengthening it and making it feel like you get involved with the characters. And I know there's something like the second season, the main guy, I forget his name, but he traveled with the Mere Tulip in the second season, and you didn't really get, like, you got the idea of why he was on the train, but you never really understood, like, what really caused him to be on the train. I mean, he does go full circle with what he learned and what he learned, what he learned through his experiences, trying to resolve his issues with his brother. But it's just, each season is like you learn so many things about the train, and this show was always a good show about storytelling. And each season tends to focus on a new character or a character you've seen, and I don't know what future seasons will hold, but I will touch on a prevailing thing that is affecting the series right now, but that'll be at the end of the review. So let me tell my review, and then I'll get to what I need to talk about the show. And now for the music. Now for the music section. Now, whenever I review music, I only touch on the opening and ending themes of a show, either anime or western, it doesn't matter. And I can't really do a review of this section because the show doesn't really have an opening or ending theme. It's just basic music to set the mood. Just basic music to set the mood. Do I hate the music clips? No. I enjoy the title transition music. If any train has any opening, and that's for every season, it doesn't matter. It really sets the mood for the show. And as for the ending theme, it doesn't really have one, but I could say it sounds good. I don't hate it. And now for the animation section. Infinity Train, well, the animation for me, well, honestly, I always love the art style of the pilot, but I feel it degraded for the main series. But it's like what they say, even if you hate something, things change and your taste may change. So, and how do I feel about the new animation? I feel it shoots the soul better. I mean, I didn't really like it at first, but I got used to it. And I don't know how I feel about the old one, but let's just say the pilot animation suits the pilot, and the animation for the show shoots the show. And that's how I feel about the animation. I mean that for the entire series, not just not finished or about some reviews. Even though I'll touch on one part even though I'll touch on just a season, I'll still talk about certain, like, the entire thing itself, because there's some things you can't just separate one by one and make it feel different for each thing. You would have to talk about everything instead of just that one thing for the season. And I feel like most people won't do that, but it's just what I do. And now for the characters. The main characters in the show in this season are Grace, Simon, Hazel, and Tuba. It follows them traveling together to reach the Apex hideout. The characters that go through the most change are Grace and Hazel. Grace is having issues with not truly knowing why passengers have numbers, and she feels scared about the revelation of numbers decreasing, even though she works so hard to keep it going up. And Hazel doesn't know her past, but she's comfortable with where she is. But issues about her past come to life. It really puts what Grace feels and what her ideals. This is like later in the season, but it really puts what Grace believes and her ideals are put to the test. And for Simon, he's kind of against what Grace is dealing with, and he feels like everyone's turning on him. And it's a good dynamic. Like, you have one good, one bad. You have two people that they're together and they've always been together, but when everything gets put to test, it shows who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and it really makes you question like what the show entails. And I really did enjoy this season, even though I said it was kind of weaker. It still was good. I can't deny that. Something about this show just makes you feel like it's a good show no matter how you view it. It's very, I could say it's very dark at some points, but I can't deny that's something that I wouldn't let my kids watch early on, but once they got a good standing on what's good and bad and what death and what life is, you could really show them like what it means to care about something and know that not everything lasts forever, and it could really teach them like just the value of just you have to hold on or care for what's around you no matter what, or just care for what's around you, like the family, like your family, your friends, your people you know. It's good to care about them even when you don't know what will happen. I mean, life's very unexpected, and one thing I'll say, you'll never know what happens each day, but you'll still take time to be a part of each person's life that you know, and just take it for what you can, and just enjoy what you have no matter what. And each section always ends with a conclusion, so my conclusion is, each conclusion is just, should you watch the show or should you not? And I feel Infinity Train Book 3, I honestly feel it's a really good storytelling show that really knows how to tell stories of side characters besides the first season, which told the first story, but the story of the other seasons tell of other characters. And honestly, story dynamic is probably one of the best things to come out of this decade, or the 2010 decade. And that's something most shows do. Most shows just tell one story and tell it through multiple seasons, but this show is like probably one of the only shows that goes through different characters and tells a story about them adapting or continuing on their stories and just exploring their adventures on the train. And it's something that it's a really good story dynamic. I can't deny what this show does is just really good. And beyond that, I would just say, please watch Infinity Train. It is a good show. Watch all 3 seasons if you can. And before I say this, and before I talk about what I need to talk about, I will say, if you get HBO Max, you don't just get the 3rd season. You can actually watch the first 2 as well. So you'll be able to catch up, because each episode is only 10 minutes, so you can catch up pretty easily. But overall, yeah, please enjoy the show. It's really good. In my eyes, it's really good. And I will say, it is fun having a review of a show that's current instead of just something I did that's old and most people won't really watch it. Please enjoy please enjoy my reviews. But anyway, the conclusion will be short because I have to touch on an issue that's affecting the show. Now, there is a YouTube channel called the Roundtable, and I saw a video where they talk about there's a prevailing thing affecting the show. Basically, the creator of the show wants to tell more stories and have more seasons, but the show is in like a development hell kind of situation. Basically, the streaming service that streams Infinity Train, it's HBO Max. They feel unless more people show interest in Infinity Train, there will not be a season 4 or any future season after that. And that is why I have to say, if you want to watch the show, do what you can to watch the show, because the show is kind of like in a state where it's like it needs people to show that there's interest. And I will say, either try and watch the show as soon as on HBO Max, and I just want people to try and help make a market for the show. Do what you can. Start hashtags, join HBO Max just to watch season 3 and the other seasons on Infinity Train, and just help it get out there and help it get well known so that there will be a future for the show. I mean, the show was able to be picked up because so many people showed interest in the pilot, and if we can do the same for the show now, I'm sure we could prove that people do want to see more Infinity Train. And I'd say start a hashtag. I think let's try a hashtag save Infinity Train and put that out there and just share the hell out of the show and just show that we want to watch this. People want to watch this show. And now for the end of the video, please support my Patreon. And I'm thinking about starting a story fire because YouTube, I'm not gonna say that YouTube's not working. I do get good views, or I get decent reviews. But I feel if I don't want to deal with the negative issues of YouTube, I'll still upload to YouTube unless somehow I get banned for some weird reason. But I feel like if I can reach out to more people instead of being an unknown person that barely scrapes by to get recognized, then I like to say, support me in any way you can. Just subscribe, like my videos, share them, follow, click when I post a new video, and just support me as much as you can. And look forward to my technically third review next week, where I'll review a show that came out this year, and I really wanted to watch the show. I thought it might have not been good because I stupidly, I initially bought it, and I was like, oh, I'll just buy this show. I don't care if I don't know anything about it or anything. I just like the opening, or just like the previews for the show. I was like, when I first bought it, I was like, oh shit, I just spent money on something that I can return it, but I spent money on something I have no idea what it's about. But when I first saw it, I really came to enjoy it. And the show has its last episode this week during Infinity Train. Yeah, it came out the last episode of Infinity Train, or the last episode of the show. Came out the last episode of Infinity Train, or the last episode of the show came out the same week as the last few episodes of Infinity Train. So that's why I want to do a review where I want to do them both back to back, like one review today and one review tomorrow. But I just feel like I don't want to go through the trouble of making one script just to type another one for something that I don't even know the ending yet. And I do want to do a review as soon as possible so that it gets out there, but I don't want to burn myself like just making review after review after review without feeling like, just do one at a time and just take it easy. Because if I try to rush, I'll just not be descriptive. I'll just go through it without even trying to explain it, and I just feel like I'll just go one by one, and I'll try to review as much as I can, as fast as I can. But I have limits too. I have school, I have work, I have chores and stuff. I mean, I'm 24, and I technically live my own. Well, I live with family, but I'm paying rent. So I am living on my own per se. But let's just say that this will be the first time of a return to a new format where I review more often as I can. At least maybe once a week or twice a week, or even 3 times or twice or once every 2 weeks at least. But I'll just do what I can to review and hope you guys enjoy it. So please look forward to more videos. Support my Patreon, like I said. Do whatever you can. Subscribe, like, comment. Do what you can to support me, and look forward to more reviews. Thank you. My third review in the next week or two, or next week. I'm gonna be done with the show pretty quickly, or I'm gonna finish the show by next week. So I'll be able to do a review next week, definitely. So look forward to that. Thank you, and see you next time.